something, but it's like I realized like if making it more specific and remembering my earlier book and studying it, the black and white format with the boy who became God was the gray needs like dimensions cannot comprehend themselves. So it's like the reason is because if you have like a flat image, like let's say this is two-dimensional, is that it can't see its face because it's in the same dimension. So it's like mirrors by their nature of us being able to see them means that mirrors are higher dimension than the rest of physical realities because reflective surfaces can make us see ourselves, which means that just having a reflectance inherently makes it a higher dimension. And what also happens is that even though this can collide with other two-dimensional things and feel them, it won't know what it is unless it physically touches it. And that's the thing with like black and white is I found is that for there to be physicality, there needs to be three values, because if you just have two, one needs to be empty space for it to actually have movement, and one needs to be the physical space. But the problem is with that is that if you only have two values of black and white, it won't have memory because it needs to physically be touching it for it to actually comprehend it. But if you have three values, such as like gray, is that wouldn't, you would think that would make it into a higher dimension of like 3 dimensions. But I found that from studying like different dimensions is that it doesn't work linearly. It's like there's the first dimension, the second dimension, and then the fourth one, and then the third one. As though it's like a thread, so it's like a loop. It's like the reason our dimensions are collide so much with each other and aren't independent is because it's not straightforward. So it's like that's why you need to unlearn math, is because you think the higher the number, like if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that it means it's linear, but it's not. It's like what's actually happening is that it's like for our realities to be connected, they need a middle ground. So it's like that middle ground would be the next dimension in between the previous two. So like 1, 3, 2, and then 4, 6, 5. So it's like there's a logical part of us that understands incremental values like that, and that part is the logical one that actually is the thread that binds them together. But the actual gravity of it is based on, I think, the actual movements themselves, which would be by the crap I didn't explain how just draw something. 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5. So it's like these numbers. So it's like this seems random, almost like an encryption, but it's not. It's like that's the thing with the chaos theory. It's like many of the numbers you see in the world around us, or the events or things seem chaotic. But that's because we're understanding it from a logical, orderly perspective. It's not a chaotic one. It's what I'm trying to say. It's what I mean is that like you would see those numbers and think there's no discernible pattern here. 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, 9, 8. Is that makes no sense at all, except the numbers don't repeat. Is the only pattern. it seems like, I mean, immediately looking at it, if you took long enough, you might figure out that's like, oh, I can actually just draw this. And it's like a 1, 2, 7. It's like if you do draw it out like that, then it will look like these triangles, which look like a fractal. So they look like one, it's still just a line, but if you turn it into a shape, it would be like, I think, a fractal. So much of that. So like, what's the point of that? It's not that the dimensions really like the numbers. The point is that they, if something complicated could be understood by me just writing numbers and things like that. Like, I'm sure this doesn't make sense. It's that the point is that it can't because it's not real. Is that if I try to explain it to you in orderly ways, such as making this video and talking to you, it might make you think you understand what I'm saying, but the reality is I have no idea what I'm saying. And that's why, like, we call this being connected to reality, like, instead of getting emotionally caught up in that, I might sound smart or something. It's like, I actually have no idea what I'm talking about. It's that, and the reason is because of the contradictory, whatever you say, nature of what I'm doing. It's like, that's the reason of why people are not able to discover things like teleportation. Is that it's like, you're trying to understand the chaotic thing by using order. So it's like, I'm making a video talking to you of the chaos theory. It's like you think since I just explained the chaos theory, you might be able to go back and actually understand what I'm saying. But it doesn't make any sense of like why those numbers mean anything. Like, you probably expected me to say that there's actually some pattern to it. I'll just have to explain it to you, but there actually isn't. So it's like, the thing with nature of like, it's like, you probably thought I was going to say, is that there are these random numbers or values or movements in nature that actually do have patterns, but we just haven't correlated it to the chaos theory. But the problem is why that will never work, is that you're still using order to understand that. Is that it's like a pathway. It's that if you actually want to go through the pathway to understanding the chaos theory, you need to, well, you can't. That's basically what it is that, you can't understand it, you just embody it. Is that, that's how it works, is that you can either embody it, and other people will think you understand it, but in reality, you don't understand it, and that's what makes you a mysterious being. And in reality, it's just your nature. It's not something you've learned. It just comes naturally to you. And that's what I've learned from the angels, is that of asking them questions, is they never told me anything, and it's because they don't need to. And it's that I've learned to not learn things. And if you just see this as a chaotic video of my ramblings that make no sense, then you are embodying it. And you are embodying it. Whereas if you actually think there's some order to what I'm saying, and it is going to lead to something and make sense, then you will never understand it because it is chaos. And if you do think you understand it, then you don't. And that's, we could say, what wisdom is accepting you know nothing, is accepting that order by its nature is based on chaos. So it's that if you embody chaos, you will create order but you will never be orderly. And the thing you need to know to do that is by not being a scientist, but being a creator. And that's what I'm realizing of why I'm not going to explain more of this is because, or show all of my book, at least right now, or things like that, is because what I found with researching for so long only to lead to such small, real-life physical changes is because you will never create anything new if you try to consciously create it before it physically happens. Because what I've learned with inventions is that they're always created by accident. They might have created the environment for it to happen, maybe even intentionally, but they never actually knew it would be created to begin with. And that's how life is, of creating life, is that by its nature, if it is life, you can't choose what it is. You just have to create a vessel for it to create itself. So the thing is, with understanding it, is that I realized that in reality, all of the words I wrote in videos I had explaining it didn't do anything at all. They just reminded me, because I forgot, of the music videos, of the games I played, of the memories, of the TV shows I watched, of the video clips, and the games I created. So when you see life as a game, people might not like you, but they do, and they will need you. And that's because when you see life as a game, and not as a means of survival, then you realize you can do anything you want. And you're right, but that's only because you don't want anything, and you are nothing. So anyways, order-disorder chaos is not simply disorder. Chaos explores the transitions between order and disorder, which often occur in surprising ways. Mixing turbulence ensures that two adjacent points in a complex system will eventually end up in very different positions after some time has elapsed. Examples: two neighboring water molecules may end up in two different parts of the ocean or even in different oceans. A group of helium balloons that launch together will eventually land in drastically different places. Mixing is thorough because turbulence occurs at all scales. It is also nonlinear. Fluids cannot be unmixed. Feedback. Systems often become chaotic when there is feedback present. A good example is the behavior of the stock market. As the value of the stock rises or falls, people are inclined to buy or sell that stock. This in turn further affects the price of the stock, causing it to rise or fall chaotically. Fractals. A fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process over and over in an ongoing feedback loop. Driven by recursion, fractals are images of the dynamic systems, the pictures of chaos. Geometrically, they exist in between our familiar dimensions. Fractal patterns are extremely familiar since nature is full of fractals. For instance, trees, rivers, coastlines, mountains, clouds, seashells, hurricanes, etc. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain, and as far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. Albert Einstein is a quote. SCP-188 is consistently induced fractal motifs. A motif is a decorative design or pattern. No, that's not in the file. Since containment, this has increasingly shifted to include spiral and flow motifs. Biological forms have emerged as a rare but consistent theme. Something you should also know is that the purple Larpy monster I created, the one I might have posted a video of my game I made, some of the game I made, in a fairy tale I wrote, which I'll post later, is it has purple spirals all over it. And I used to call it, when I'd have nightmares of it when I was younger, the lollipop demon. It had swirls, I remember, on its cheeks, so like a lollipop. And it was probably the most horrifying monster I've ever seen. So I made a game out of it. And when I did, I found out it was actually real. And I wasn't trying to make it real, but I found out it was. So I actually happened to find a way to defeat it by just trying to make something that I thought was just psychological. Move on from it is what I mean. So I guess it didn't work out. I am going to move on from it because it was real, but it's going to die. So biological forms have emerged as a rare but consistent theme. As the environment around it is manipulated, SCP-188's regional effects will extend outward. Testing has shown that this region will only extend outward to a volume encompassing an area of about 4,000 meters squared. And now the previous thing I was saying about myself and Larpy, that was not in the file. Attempts to nullify SCP-188's effect have included placement in a Faraday cage. Placement. It's a Faraday cage. Faraday cage. A Faraday cage where a Faraday shield is an enclosure used to block electromagnetic fields. A Faraday shield may be formed by a continuous covering of conductive material, or in the case of a Faraday cage, by a mesh of such materials. Faraday cages are named after scientist Michael Faraday, who invented them in 1836. So it's actually like the chunga that I'm having in my room. It's actually creating an effect like the Faraday cage. Attempts to nullify SCP-188's effect have included placement in a Faraday cage, placement in a radiation containment device, powdering and melting SCP-188. None of these attempts have diminished the regional effect in any way. Current proposals to vaporize SCP-188 and recondense small portions of the vapor are being explored. SCP-188 first came to the attentions of a predecessor body to the Foundation on redacted-1920 redacted, located at the rural Indiana properties of redacted. After a thorough search, the object was found as a spike, partially submerged in the ground. It appeared to be in the process of reshaping the local wheat crop through braiding together and flattening of stalks. No clear pattern had emerged at time of acquisition, though the effect had begun to extend over many meters. Though records are incomplete, it is known that efforts to contain the effect of the object failed. Embedding in bulk material, such as concrete or lead, did not diminish the initial size of the region the effect acted over. Further, these attempts ended with the object carving apart the containment sheath. The Foundation has evidence that more esoteric proposals were suggested, such as encasement and diamond. No evidence exists that these technologically sophisticated and resource-intensive proposals were followed upon. When this parent organization was folded into the Foundation, the object and any existing records were inherited and placed under the SCP-188 classification. When the crop circle fad emerged, efforts were taken to determine if there was a connection between the crop circle makers and the effects caused by SCP-188. Investigation showed no connection beyond the superficial, and it is the opinion of the O5s that the similarity is a coincidence. Just so you know that the O5s are seen as like the top secrets, members, like the leaders of the organization, and decide what's going to happen from then on. So if an O5 is mentioned, it must be very important because there are thousands of SCP files, and if the not trying to sound elitist, I'm just saying it's like they don't have, there's only like 12 or less of O5s, maybe. It's also in the game, you need an O5 key card to actually, as a D-class, escape from the SCP facility. So also, the crop circle makers, there's this thing, this phenomenon where fields of crops, like corn or wheat, will have these symbols that were thought to be by aliens. And what it's talking about, I think, with the crop circle makers, is that these symbols were thought to have possibly been made by SCP-188. Right, that's what suggests it showed no connection to it based on the studies, so it doesn't seem like it is related to that. And that is a real phenomenon that does happen sometimes. You know, the United States government, about a year or two ago, they did release actual footage of evidence and footage of extraterrestrials like UFOs. I mean, not living beings, living beings have never officially been seen, but spaceships just flying and disappearing out of nothing, like saucer discs. And those have reportedly been seen by military aircraft, typically over the ocean. And I thought it was the ghosts of the spaceships themselves, of the Atlanteans, and that they're actually ghosts of ships because they could embody their essence into vehicles to power them, and with that, it would create a ghost. So like how you could see the ghost of a person is if their essence was imbued inside of it, it could mean that you would see a ghost of a ship. So a spaceship, like those spaceships, I thought, were actually just ghosts, and that's why there's never any interaction, like an abduction. Like there are said to be abductions, but they're not confirmed to be real, and they're much more rare than the sighting. So I thought they were the ghosts of the Atlanteans, who were the original people who came to Earth from outer space, such as Mars, and possibly teleported from other universes or solar systems or galaxies, and I think teleported to Mars through the iron, which I think they did that through the sun. And Rudolf Steiner talks about that with the sixth race, and that the sun-based race is actually the root of humanity. And that's where humans came from, is these people. But the problem is that the evolution is that I think that the degeneration that happened over thousands of years with the battle of nature itself, which is the old gods. And that's why humans live very short lifespans compared to the hundreds or thousands of years they used to live. In the Bible, it talks about people who used to live thousands of years long. But now people live an average of 60, 70, or 80 years, and that's considered to be a long time. And not only that, but they start to degrade in their life quality after about 30, 35 years. So since I believe in the Bible, I already knew a long time ago that it would be possible. I just didn't know if I would be the one to do that, because I knew thousands of years people before me didn't have access to the technology I'm using to try to create it. So it's like it could be possible that some generations could have physically not been able to do that. But maybe I'm finding that isn't true. And that's why morality is so important of humanity, is that if the point of morality isn't to ignore or neglect these issues from a scientific point, it's that other beings like deities or angels or God already know how to solve it, but they don't have the medium of a person to actually do what they're asking. And that's also why I found many of the people who have made technology, like the Reich machine or Rudolf Steiner or computers or television, they were people who did believe in spiritual beings. It's like they were people who did believe that. So many of the technological things we do now, and I do too. And the reason that works is because they not only have guidance, but they also don't have to spend their life proving something they could already know now if they just believe those things. So it's like, I don't have to prove that this could be possible when I could just do it and have it work. It's like, instead of going to people and trying to prove it with evidence for years and years, I could just do it and then feel the effects of it immediately. And that's what I try to do. It's like, that's why my work isn't known by people. It's because it would waste my time to try to tell people. I'd rather just do it. So anyways, proposals to explore or to illustrate any statistical consistency in the effect SCP-188 has upon its environment are being accepted and evaluated. At this time, due to the lack of inherent danger posed by SCP-188 in its current containment, proposals requiring extreme measures or contact with other SCPs are not encouraged. It's the thing of why SCP-188 is relevant. I didn't realize it until now. I don't know if I should publish it. This is a picture of an example of the effect of SCP-188. So apparently what it seems like it's saying it can do, in case it sounds confusing, especially with my 30-minute TED Talk in the middle of between it, it seems to just, it's almost like an art game, like it just clones its image into different mediums. And that actually has to do with me making money with my shop to get materials. Is actually went to get a robot. I'm going to post, I might have already posted a clip of the pen drawing robot, the AxiDraw V3, and I wanted it because I prefer working with 3D models on a computer, and I'd rather focus on that than drawing. And I can just get a snapshot, a picture of my 3D models in a scene, like even the videos I have, and the robot can draw it out. And the thing with that is that connected connecting to like Disney and hand-drawn animation and anime. It's like one thing in animation, I know some of the most effective animation, like with Disney or anime, like hand-drawn characters that are somewhat simplistic, is that the reason it works so well is by the repetition of the same character but in different positions and orientations. It's like it allows your nervous system to comprehend the 2D image into a physical one because you're redrawing it thousands and thousands of times, moving in different positions and just drawing it constantly. And drawing each frame of the animation, like the film Double Team, it's like that took him 2 years to make. And that 10-minute video, he hand drew everything, so every single frame was hand drawn. And the thing that is like with stop motion too is like with stop motion animation, you move the figure and then you take a picture and you move them again, and you just keep doing that over and over again. Is that like time, I think, doesn't actually exist. It's just gravity. But it's like what I was trying to say before about the gray with color with the videos is that before I start explaining it was pointless. I think you'll realize what it means later once I have more of these videos and where technology becomes more advanced. Because you'll realize the problem that individuals and God have to begin with is like, now that we have all this technology, it's like we still, we realize these things we sacrifice to get here are the very reason that all of that even happened to begin with. We haven't done anything to fix it. So like, what is it? It's like, should we sacrifice our technological advancements to solve that? Or should we just ignore it and deal with it later? It's like, if you don't know what that means, I think I'll find out later. And I don't know. That's why it's so vague, it's because I don't know more than that. But the point is that with 3 colors of the black, white, and gray, is that one value, I found this with assembly code, is that the code used for programming computers, you'd think is based on 1s and 0s. But you'd think a 0 means no energy, and a 1 means energy. So it's like nothing, like 0101 would be nothing, like a beep, or not a beep, but like a surge of electricity, nothing in a surge. But the thing is that it needs to be in sync so that it can communicate with other devices. And if it's not in sync, then 2 computers would not be able to make a connection. So to solve that, people, they didn't create the computers to be based on the 1s and 0s and being based on no electricity and electricity. They based it on, I might have gotten the order wrong of which one's which, but you'll get the point. It's like 0 is like 2 waves of electricity, and the value of 1 is just 1. So it's like 0 is like da, and the 1 is like da. And the reason that it works that way is because the computer is not only able to determine 2 separate values, but also the timing of them to have them in sync. So I think having like some gray in the videos rather than exclusively black and white allows it to not only communicate to the nervous system in a deeper way than color would, color by itself, but it would allow it to be in sync, so communicate to other people who are also doing the same thing. When I say better than that, like you'll learn with crystals and things like that, like things with color. I learned this from one big experiment. Is that color is just the construction of black and white elements. So when you say something's red or blue or whatever, the real thing of what it is black and white. It's just the arrangement of it to reflect light at different frequencies so that it appears as a different color. So we say that as color itself, but technically it isn't the color itself. So you could say the essence really isn't in the coloring of it, it's actually the architecture of the physicality of it. Because really it's saying that I can have a square, like as an experiment of like 12 by 12 inches, and it's based on arranging these 1,000 different dots, I could create the atomical structure of every single material in the universe. So it's like every material in the universe could be, like its root essence would be related to the architecture of this handful of dots. And with that concept, I could actually map out like how the different materials look just by having dots on a board. And that's why the back room seems to be such like a deep reflective thing other than just like stupid shit to laugh about. Is that I think it makes you realize that the simplicity of the back room is actually
shit to laugh about.
It's not that simplicity is the lack of essence.
I think it makes you realize
It's you realize how little
of the back
material you need to actually
it's not that
see
simplicity
essence
is the lack
itself.
of essence.
So it's like
It's
if
you
you
realize
learn,
how
I think,
little
to understand how
need to actually
the same amount of
see
life that
essence
exists in
itself.
such an empty,
So it's
little
like
space
you learn, I think,
as
to understand
all of this different art and like
the
temples
same
and
amount of
massive architectures like in Japan,
liminal
or
space.
Tokyo, or New York, or things like that. If you can understand it has the same amount of essence as that,
Massive architecture.
but if anything it has more because it's enclosed in smaller
New York or
space.
things like that. If you could understand
It's that
it's
if
the
you
same
can
amount of
understand that,
essence
then
as
I
that.
think you can understand
But if anything it has more
how
because it's enclosed
artificial the
in
human
space,
body is and actually living forever.
is that if you can
And the reason I
understand
say that it's not unrelated is that
maybe
it's like with Lego stop motion.
artificial
It's like, how could something that is just a few small
and
bricks
the reason I
and
say
these
that
made
it's
up
not
characters
that
be just as entertaining and fill out my life with the same
is like how
seemingly
could
like
something that is just a
essence
few
of
small
inspiration
bricks and these
as
made up characters be
these
just
real
as
life people
entertaining
who have spent
filled
years
with
and
like
years to
the
make
same
this film.
seeming like
While the
essence
stop
of
motion
inspiration.
is just simplistic bricks that are made by artificial
Real life
material
people who have spent
that doesn't
years
have
and
any
years in
resonance,
this
like
film.
resonance
While the stop
value that would actually
It's
should
just
affect people
simplistic
at all.
bricks that are made by
And there's maybe
artificial
some
material
kid of like
that doesn't have any
maybe he's like a
resonance,
teen,
like
maybe he's
resonance
like 14
value
or 12 or something.
should
I don't
affect
know.
people at all.
But that stop motion
And
is
there's
like,
maybe
he's
some
probably just a
kid,
teenager
like
made that.
maybe he's like a
And
teen,
it probably took that
maybe
months
he's
and
like
months to
14
make that,
12
just
or
one
something,
person.
like I don't know. Like that stop motion
And
is
it's
like,
probably
it's
the
probably
budget
just a
of like a
teenager.
couple $100 maybe, of
And
like
it probably
Lego
took him
bricks he
months
already
and months
had,
to make that. Just one
compared
person.
to like, the live version of the SCP Foundation,
$100 maybe.
which is like a squad of
Lego bricks
people who
that
might have had military,
compared to
one of them
like
might have had military experience,
the live
taught
action of
other
the
people
SCP
like that
Foundation,
behind the scenes
which
of
is
it,
like a
but
squad of
I didn't find it
people
that interesting to be honest because
one of them might have military experience.
I didn't think it was like a great
Other
movie,
people
but
like
it
that
did look cool,
behind
it
the
was
scenes
entertaining,
but
but yeah.
I didn't find it that interesting to be honest because
And so, I think when you realize how little effort it takes to produce the same amount of essence, you realize, am I just wasting my life? And like trying to live up to something that's completely unnecessary. I think the reality is that yes, you are. It's like how we do the same amount of essence with the least
trying
amount of
to live
effort
up to
as
something
possible.
that's completely
And
unnecessary.
the reality for me is by making these videos of like,
It's like, how do we
all I have to do is just like say things I'm thinking about, like reading or something. And it's like,
reality for me is by making
I say low
videos
effort, I don't mean like the things I did leading up to
say things I'm thinking
more
about,
low effort. I mean,
something.
telling you what I already did is low
When I
effort.
say low effort,
So it's not like knowing this
things
is like
leading
take a
up to
little amount of effort, like I'm just doing nothing and I spontaneously created this. Like I've been studying this
is low effort.
intensely all day
So it's
for
not like
about 2
knowing
years.
this, but it's like took a little amount of effort
And
and
it's,
just doing nothing.
It's like giving someone else's video
Like I've been
and
studying
converting it into a format
intensely
where I
all
can
day
just,
for about 2 years.
it might be this difficult to create the format, like not to do it
It's like
again.
giving someone else's
And
video
to replicate
and
it.
converting it into a
And
format
there's, I think,
was difficult to create the format, but not to do it again. And to replicate it.
I don't know, just think of like what is the thing you have to do that exerts the least amount of energy that sustains you just as much, if not more, than anything else you could possibly be doing.
What is the thing
And I think
you
it's
have
like
to do
living a very
with
simplistic
amount
life.
of energy
And
that
it's,
sustains you just as
it's
much,
like
if
for
not
me
more,
right now,
than
I'm just
anything
trying to
else.
get money for my shop and doing manufacturing.
And
It's like I'm
living a very
I'm
simplistic life.
doing things like
And it's
low effort right now since I'm treating my viruses. Like
for my shop.
found out I might have influenza,
I might
so
not
I'm writing for that.
doing
There's
things
like 7 different
low
viruses
effort
at the
right
same
now
time.
since I'm treating my
So I'm just like
viruses.
sitting down and making these
I
videos.
might
I'm not
have
really doing
influenza.
anything else.
So I'm looking for that. The like 7 different viruses.
I think I'm realizing from being chronically ill, not in my entire life, is that they're like I thought I was restricted in my life from not being able to really leave the house or do much. But I realized that
like I thought I was
everything
restricted
I could have gotten
of not being able to really leave the house or do much.
in a longer amount of
But I
time
realized
that
that,
cost more money, more people, more danger and things like that. I could literally give all of that just being inside my room, and I don't even have to feel well to do that. Like, that's what I found out about the idea of
literally
creating your own reality is that
I don't even have to feel well to do
I, for so long, I was waiting to leave, to go live my life and like join the military, like the Navy SEALs and things like that. But then I found out from not being able to do that, still, is that
join the military, like the Navy SEALs and
maybe
things like
the
that.
reason is because
But then I found
all
out
of
that
all of that would
do
just
that
lead
still.
back here to
Is
that.
that
It's like after 2 years of like going blind and fixing it
because
and like having constant
all
indicators
of that would just
and battling with all the spiritual
It's like
things.
after 2
My
years
life
of like going
is that all of that
and
would
fixing
lead
it
right back to
and like
the
having
SCP
constant
Foundation.
indicators
It's like
and battling with
somehow
all
it just
the
goes
spiritual
right
things
back to the
in
start
life.
over again.
It's that all of that
And that's why I'm trying to focus on SCP Foundation. It's like
it's
a
like
fractal. My
somehow
life
it
is like
just goes right
it's so
back to the
simplistic
start.
with what it is, but for some reason
And
it's
that's
just
why
so
I'm trying
true.
to focus on SCP
Of like, there's so much validity in it. So every
My
file
life is like
I read,
it's so
there's some change in my life.
what it
And it's
is,
like, I
but for
don't know
some
why.
reason it's just so true.
It's like, what I
There's
was
so
wanting
much
that would
validity
be
in it. It's like every file
magic.
I
Somehow,
read
it's like something that seems so dead and boring
Why?
initially seeing it.
It's like
I like reading files and these
like magic. Somehow
like secret facilities that are just labs with
initially
no
seeing
entertainment, whatever. Somehow that could be the most entertaining and
like secret
not boring
facilities that
thing
are
in
just
my life.
labs with
it's like how could that possibly happen?
somehow
That's
that
why
could be the most
I guess the
entertaining
reason why
and
I study
not
theater and psychology
thing
and
in my
different
life.
really
It's
people.
like how could that
It's like all it
possibly
takes is
happen?
one person to do that.
I guess the reason
And that's why people
I
are
study
so
theater
complicated.
psychology
Is that
is really people.
I think if you could understand them, it would show that we don't have those things to begin with.
So
It's
complicated.
because I think people with
I think if you could
the
understand them,
essence
it would show
of just
that
their life
they don't
and are intelligent
essence to begin with.
that is independent of life or death and
I
stuff.
think people with
It's like, you can tell if someone is like that because on the outside their life is so simple.
that is
But it's only because
life
of
or death and stuff.
the longevity
It's like,
of
you can tell if
of their
someone
life.
is like that because
It's
on the
like
outside their life is so
they-
simple.
It's people who see
It's all
life
because
from
of
the perspective of thousands and thousands of years ahead of time, not even of like living that long, but of the future itself.
So
It's like, I think those people who are like,
perspective of
I'm
thousands
thinking
and
about how
thousands
the
of
world's
years
going
ahead
to
of
be
time,
1,000
not
years
even
from
like
now,
living that long.
even if
But
I'm
if
not going to
you
see it,
yourself,
are the people
so
most
I think
likely
those
to
people
actually
who
be
are
able
like,
to see it.
I'm thinking about how the world's going to be
And I think that
even if I'm not
that's the thing with like
are the
sacrifice.
people
I
most
think
likely to
people
actually be able
don't
to see.
learn. Is that the
And I
reason
think that
the lesson of sacrifice is that
thing
you
with like
learn by doing it
sacrifice,
and
I
not
think
knowing
people don't
that
learn.
you'll actually live in
Is
the
that the
process,
reason
that whatever
the
you're
lesson of
sacrificing,
sacrifice
or
is
whatever
that
part of
you
yourself
learn
you're
by doing it
sacrificing,
and not knowing
that it does come back to
that
you.
you'll
And
actually
that's
learn
the
in the
lesson. It's
process
like
that whatever you
this
sacrifice,
eternal existence. It's like if you
whatever
sacrifice your
yourself you're
life,
sacrificing,
you'll find
that
that
does come back to you.
it does come
And that's the
back.
lesson. It's like
And that's the thing, is like the
eternal
complexity of
existence. It's like if you
existence. It's like
sacrifice your
if
life,
you live and then
you'll find
die,
that
then I think
it
you
does
live
come back.
again even if you try
And
not
that's
to.
the thing,
It just
is
happens. It's like,
it's
why
like
does that
existence.
happen? It's like
If
maybe
you live
that
and
romance
die,
itself isn't really
I
that
think
romance. It's
you
more
live
just,
again, even if you try not to,
like,
and it just happens. It's like, why
that
does that happen?
it's not like something
Maybe
one person does that
romance
brings
itself
someone else
isn't
back to
really
life.
that romance.
It's making
just,
you realize you are already bringing yourself back to life.
it's not
And I
like
told
something
you
one
that because
person
I
does
did
that
that
brings
for
someone else
myself
back
already.
to life. It's making them realize.
It's like maybe the thing is with necromancy is that it
yourself
doesn't
back to
actually
life.
exist.
And I'm telling you that because
It's like,
I did that
maybe it just doesn't.
already.
So that's the
So it's
thing
like
with
maybe the thing
the
is
SCP
that
Foundation is
that
like,
doesn't actually exist.
if whether I would
It's
want
like,
to do this
maybe it
or
just
not,
doesn't.
I think inevitably I'd be doing the same
That's the
thing.
thing with
Is that I stopped learning about how to live forever.
if
It's
whether
like I
I
just
would
stopped doing
want to
that.
do this or not,
It's like I think I'd be doing the same thing regardless anyways. It's like,
I stopped
why
learning about
even
how to
think
live
about it? It's like,
forever.
I've treated my diseases to do it of getting materials
It's like
that
I
actually
think
make
I'd
me
be doing
feel
the same
better.
thing regardless
Or
anyways.
doing
It's
certain
like,
things I actually
why
want to do is like,
think
it would be the
it's
same
like,
regardless, so
I'm
why
treating my
even
diseases
try?
to do
It's
it
like
with
I'm
materials
thinking now,
that actually make
I
me
think
feel
I'm not
better.
going to, and then just see what
Doing
happens.
certain things I actually want to do is like, it would be
And
the
I
same
think I'll end
regardless
the
of
video
why
here and realize that
it's like
I think I'm realizing with living forever, it's like,
and then just see what happens.
it could happen, it would happen on its own.
And
It's like I don't need science to do
realize
that.
that. I think
So
I'm realizing with
if
living forever, it's like,
I'm realizing that because of how many clues scientifically I missed
it's
from
like I
art
don't
and
need
things
science.
like that that actually
So
I could have used years ago,
I'm realizing
to
that
actually be healthier.
clues
but
scientifically
I
missed
denied
from
that
art
that
and
spirit
things like that
existed.
I could have used years ago.
And even though people say it isn't my fault, I think it's my responsibility to be aware of those things
That
as
spirit
someone who treats
existed.
them myself.
And
So I
even
think
though
to
people say it
resolve
isn't my fault,
that
I think it's my
issue and it's
responsibility
really
to be
bad.
aware of those things as
Going back to the life I used to live when I was younger,
so I
and to
think
not try to change what I'm doing,
issue
but try to go back to
by
the past and keep living that way.
going back to the life I
Instead
used to live
of when I knew I was alive,
and to
rather
not
than
try
now,
to change what
where
I'm
I'm
doing,
not so sure.
but try to go back to my past.
So I'm going to end the video here and say
When
that
I knew I was alive, rather than now.
I think
So I'm going to end the video here and say that
maybe I was going to say something, but maybe it just doesn't matter. It's like, that's the chaos. That's the example
maybe
I could
I
have
was going to
because
say something,
theory
but
is like,
maybe it just doesn't matter. It's like, that's the
I
chaos.
probably just give you more questions than answers. That's like I'm not going to
Example
answer
I can have of the
So
chaos.
that's the
And
chaos.
it's like,
And maybe you feel more dead,
I
maybe you feel
probably
more
just
alive.
need more questions
Maybe
than
you don't
answers.
feel
It's
anything.
like, I'm not going
It's like it doesn't make a difference because
the chaos.
I made this video days
Maybe you
ago
feel more dead.
and I've already moved on from it.
Maybe you don't
And you're
feel
watching it
needed.
right now.
It's like it doesn't make a difference.
And maybe that's why people
I made this
would
video
come to me
days
for
ago.
information.
And
It's
I
not that
moved
mistake.
on from it.
It's just that
And you're watching it
it
right
can be
now.
measured by the movements
And
of
maybe that's why
your
people
basing
come to me for information.
your life on
It's not
something
opposite.
I already did.
It's just that it can
It's
be
like
measured by the
it would be a
movements
memory
of
for me,
your
but it would never
basing
be your life
your
essence
life on
itself.
something I
And
already
to
did.
not do that anymore,
So it's
I
like
think you need to
it would be
realize
a memory
how
for me,
non-essential
but it
these
would
videos
never
are for your
be
life.
your life essence itself.
It doesn't mean you don't watch
that
them.
anymore.
It means you don't
Just
need
realize
them.
how
And that's the thing about
non-essential
this
these
communication
videos are
with
in your
humans,
life.
is that I don't think this
It
communication
doesn't
is
mean you don't
necessary.
watch them. It means
It
you
is in reality
And that's the thing about
Just
this
TV
communication.
in a different form.
Is that
And it might be a safer form of TV from radiation,
in reality,
but I think
just TV.
all of the knowledge, all of the videos and art and
And it might
everything
be a
almost seems
safer
like
form of TV from radiation.
in reality they lead to
But I
such
think
little differences
all of
in
the
the
knowledge,
choices we
all
make
of
in our
the videos
physical
and
lives.
everything, it
I
almost
think we
seems
should
like
question
uh,
if maybe to
in
end this
reality,
endless
there's
cycle
such little
of thousands of
differences in the
years
choices we
never
make in
finding
physical
solutions
life.
to the problems we
But I think
have
we should question
of doing something different and
maybe
realizing
to
that
end this endless cycle of
we're wrong
thousands
about
of years
everything
and never
and
finding
that we
solutions
shouldn't try to understand our reality,
of
but
doing
instead
something
of body
different,
who we
realizing
used to
that
be, because we didn't try to understand as much, and because
we
of that,
shouldn't try to understand our
we were more
reality,
right
but
before
instead of
in
body,
the past than we are
used
now.
to be, because
So,
we didn't try
this
to
is
understand
Leonardo
it. Because
at
of
2:05
that, we were
p.m.
right before
6-2-23, 2023.
This is Liam Mahoney at
And
2:05
I will
p.m.
see you later.
6-2-23. 2023, I mean. And I will see you later.